Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, for most of the week, I was preparing to talk about the pending voice actors, yeah, for the most part they're voice actors, but there's also motion capture. The actor strike for video games, and then today came and went. So I had a thought about that.
Party people, how you feeling?
I don't know about you guys, but I am glad it is Friday night. How's everybody doing? Welcome to episode 19 of the Papa Jug podcast. We've got a very interesting list of topics tonight, simply because it's been an interesting week. There have been some things that have occurred, and unfortunately, there is. So I do have to add. I will say up front, we are going to add a topic at the top of the show, and then our big chat of the night kind of didn't materialize, but we're going to talk about what it still exists. Okay, our big chat tonight is the SAG-AFTRA actor strike for video games. They are authorized to strike, but it's not happening. Whatever, it's a whole thing. We'll talk about that later. We're also going to be talking about, let's just roll into that picture. We're also going to be talking about the Forbes top creators of 2023. They released their list of the top 50 creators according to Forbes. The brand new Counter-Strike 2 has come out, and it replaces Counter-Strike Go. So Global Offensive is done. It is now replaced. We're going to talk about that. And then, unfortunately, I had to add this one. I did bump another topic off the list because I wanted to talk about the layoffs at Epic. They are epic. Sorry. I'm not making a joke about it. It's just the Epic layoffs are epic. It was more than I was expecting. It's a pretty dramatic number, so we're going to be talking about that. So let's jump right into this. And like I said, I hope everybody is having themselves a wonderful Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, to whatever day of the week you might be picking this up. Make that a good one, okay? That's the thing. So before we get into tonight's planned topics, we do have to add something that occurred today. We are recording on Friday, and it happened today. And that is after 27 years, an arrest has been made in the murder of Tupac Shakur. Oh man, there are so many questions about this. The guy they arrested. Hold on. I gotta close the browser. Go away. Bad data. That's not what we're looking for. There we go. Anyways, yeah. So this is fascinating. Dwayne Davis. They arrested him today. He has been charged with murder in the death of Tupac Shakur. So Tupac ain't dead. He's in Hawaii. Well, then this dude's going to get set free. So Dwayne Davis gets arrested today, 27 years later. Here's the interesting thing. For those of you who don't know about this, Dwayne Davis admitted to being in, and has admitted from like day one, he was in the Cadillac that pulled up next to Tupac and shot him. Like, this isn't, his involvement isn't a mystery, but the dude was never arrested. He got arrested today. It only took them 27 years to catch up. He's been public about it. He's admitted it. He's been interviewed a bazillion times. The guy had a book published 4 years ago where in detail talks about his life of crime. He talks about the fact that he was in the Cadillac. That he's like, yeah, I was in the car when the dude died. And the other thing, obviously, there were people in Pac's car. There were people in Dwayne's car, and so there's only two people still alive from those two vehicles. Dwayne Davis and Suge Knight. Suge's in prison. Dwayne Davis is not. Now he is. 27 years to arrest this guy. He's never said, to be clear, first of all, these are charges. I'm not saying he's guilty for legal reasons. So yeah, he's always said he's in the car. He's never admitted to it. They finally charged him. All he would say was the shots came from the back seat. That was his extent. Like, he's like, shots came from the back seat. He never said where he was. He just said the shots came from the back seat. The cops raided I think it's his house and his ex-wife's house back in July. They were looking for anything. And I guess the dude's house was filled with Tupac stuff. Not Pac's possessions, but like stuff about like Tupac poster, the Tupac, he had his own book. He had it was just Tupac stuff. Like the dude was obsessed with the guy, apparently, according to the criminal charges, that he killed. That's not, I mean, it's a little incriminating. It's a little bizarre, but whatever, life will go on. So anyways, like I said, I wanted to talk about that just at the top of the show. We had to add that. These charges were announced today. He was arrested today. Apparently he was picked up on the street. They nabbed him off the streets of Las Vegas, which is where Pac was killed. He's lived there. And yeah, so 27 years later, we have our very first arrest in the murder of Tupac Shakur, and it's the guy who has said he was in the car the whole time. So I'm curious, 27 years of investigations, whatever that's meant, 27 years of investigations, 27 years later, they raid this dude's house. What did they find that finally took them from person of interest, indictment? And oh, by the way, it was a grand jury indictment. It wasn't like the cops all of a sudden were like, "Oh, hey, you know what? We found evidence. Let's go run off and find the guy and arrest him." No. They put all the evidence to a grand jury. The grand jury indicted this guy, and then the cops went and picked him up. So, like, there was a process. There was some evidence here. There was some stuff. But yeah, 27 years. Tupac Shakur was killed in 1996, before many of you were alive. Tupac was murdered. And now they got a guy. Did they find the guy? We don't know. We'll have to wait. I know, right? Never would have guessed it was him, right? By the way, everybody, if you are listening to the audio of this or watching the VOD, don't forget, you can always join us live on YouTube. We broadcast every Friday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific. All you've got to do is jump in a chat, and you are welcome to comment. I read half of them-ish, and sometimes I read half of those. But still, you can talk. There's other people. There's people right here. They're having whole full-on conversations. They're just, they're basically ignoring me. This is the way. We're just going to roll with that one. So that's the Tupac stuff. Let's move on to our actual first topic of the night as it was planned. And that is going to be the resignation of Jim Ryan. He has resigned from PlayStation after 30 years, something. I think 30 years. Leading up, or being part of Sony, I should say. He's been part of Sony. He's had multiple jobs. But yeah, so it's pretty interesting. He is finally departing. Interestingly, he took over at PlayStation. He's a Brit. He took over at PlayStation, which is basically run in North America, and he never moved. He stayed in England and had to work in North America. That's a challenge. I'm not criticizing the guy. I'm simply saying everybody should have known that is going to be a hard thing to do. But his tenure at the company, his tenure with PlayStation, has been a successful one. They have continually outsold Xbox. Ultimately, Xbox, I think it was 2 years ago, Xbox finally admitted we're not going to catch up to PlayStation. It's just not going to happen. Phil Spencer was on record. I think it was one of the leaked documents, or maybe it was an interview after the fact, but Phil Spencer was on record as saying, oh no, it was an internal. Yeah, it was a leaked document. It was an internal document in the court filings where Phil Spencer says, we have a better product than PlayStation. It's like, well, dude, the audience has never figured that out. So if you truly do, you might want to talk to your marketing department, because PlayStation kicks your ass every single year. Every year. In some cases, up until a couple of years ago, in some cases, PlayStation was beating Xbox 2-1. 2-1 in sales. That's not close. That's not, hey, the market doesn't understand our product. That's, people just don't want your product. Like, PlayStation is crushing you. And this was the guy in charge, and he is finally departing. So I wanted to read a little something here. Ryan's exit caps off. I'm currently reading from Axios. He has run Sony's successful PlayStation division since 2019, been part of his video game operation since 94. He's retired. Oh, that's the other part. He is retiring next year. He's retiring in March of 2024, and that will be his final. And obviously, they're working on replacement CEOs and all of that. He's going to step down on March 31st. Current Chief Operating Officer Hiroki Totoki is going to be assuming an interim role, blah, blah, blah. There it is. Quote, I found it increasingly difficult to reconcile living in Europe and working in North America. You think? Like, who thought that would be easy? I'm so confused. Sony's PlayStation 5 console, launched under Ryan in 2020 in the middle of the worldwide pandemic, has become one of the company's most successful gaming launches, selling 40 million units through July. It hasn't been all roses at PlayStation. I think we can agree that PlayStation, in terms of platform, not hardware, not sales, but platform, has kind of lagged behind Xbox in a lot of cases. Xbox Game Pass is wildly more popular than PlayStation's. Xbox has been prioritizing that. Sony was slow to get into mobile gaming. They were not leaders in that. They're playing catch up right now. They're trying to get more progress. They're trying to get more market share in that. It's been okay. So far this year, the PlayStation 5 has sold 40 million consoles through July. That's right. He was also overseeing things like God of War, Last of Us, all of those things. So, they've had some really good IPs that they've done. Its expensive return to virtual reality with a new headset in February completely failed. So again, when you take things for Sony outside of PlayStation sales, just console sales, it hasn't been all that great. Game studios are in the midst of an extended pivot towards making more live service games as Sony chases the powerful economic model of free-to-play third-party games such as Fortnite and Counter-Strike. Sony's next big hardware release, the November slated PlayStation Portal, is a handheld that only plays games streamed from a user's PS5, an unproven approach to portable gaming. We talked about that in a prior episode of the Papa Jug podcast. I don't see it working. I don't see how it's going to work. I don't understand why they tied it to the PS5. Literally, it's tethered. It is tethered to the console. That's not the point of portable gaming. So there's some mystery here. But anyways, so he's done all of those things. Under Ryan, Sony has been a voracious acquirer of game studios, including Bungie, which they paid $3.6 billion for. Not a cheap purchase. It's not a $67 billion Activision purchase, but still, $3.6 billion is not a small piece of money. Ryan also led efforts to bring PlayStation games beyond PlayStations to PCs, where many of Sony's games have thrived, and to mobile, where efforts have yet to bear much fruit. That's exactly what I was just talking about. So bringing things to PC, which again, this is what baffles me about Rockstar's approach to this whole, we're just going to port Red Dead 1, we're not bringing it over, or we're not bringing it over to the PC. It's like, guys, when you bring things to the PC, you're opening up to a more technical audience, you're opening it up to a bigger community, you're opening it up to more variety, more capability, and they're just not doing it. And it's like, Sony realized, they could do it, and they started to do it, and they've had success there. Mobile, they still need to do better at, but that is what it is. Let's see. Oh yeah. And of course he was the guy who oversaw, and this is another thing that Ryan did not succeed very well at. He is and was in charge of Sony's PlayStation division while they were fighting the Xbox purchase of Activision Blizzard. Didn't work. Looks like that deal is going to go through completely worldwide. They're going to get through the US. They're going to get through the Brits. That's going to be fine. They never made a successful enough case. They never found a way to convince the regulators and the courts that this is going to fail. The only places it really worked was the US and Britain. That's it. The US and UK. Everybody else was ready to go. So, another thing that it didn't work out in Sony's favor, and I think that everybody is going to agree that Microsoft is going to ultimately win the arguments about leadership of the gaming industry and things like that, because they've got Activision, because they've got Blizzard titles, because they've got King titles. Sony couldn't stop it from happening. Sony also, if we go deeper on that, Sony not only didn't stop it from happening, Sony also didn't see it coming. Sony tried purchasing studios and doing things that might have sort of cut off at the pass a little bit. It just didn't happen. Microsoft got the bigger prizes. Yeah, Sony got Bungie, but still not enough, And so there's going to be issues with that. So March 31st of 2024, Jim Ryan is retiring. He will be leaving Sony. They will almost certainly have a new CEO probably by the end of the second quarter, if not by the time he leaves. I mean, they're going to find somebody in the next 6 months. It's all of fourth quarter of this year and first quarter of next year. They'll find somebody. They'll find somebody that is going to probably be in the same cloth, I would think. I don't think that Jim Ryan made significant enough mistakes where they're going to say, let's go in a completely different direction. They may want to go in a different direction as a company, but I think Jim Ryan has a successful track record, and I think the gaming industry would agree. I think Jim Ryan has that track record that says, yeah, this was a guy who got stuff done. Was it perfect? No. But then again, you could look at Phil Spector and Xbox and be like, well, that's not perfect either. So whatever, let's move on. We're going to be talking about our next topic, and this is a bigger one. This is going to be bigger than I anticipated that it was going to be, simply because of what I found in it. I knew the list had come out. I immediately added it to the agenda for tonight. I was like, yeah, that's going on the list. We're going to talk about the creators list. And then I saw the list, and I was surprised. So I'm going to bring this up on screen, and I'm going to read it for everybody just for the audio purposes. Let me bring this up for everybody here. We're going to go... Is that going to work? Yes, there we go. Okay, so this is the Forbes Top Creators of 2023. Now, I'm going to read the methodology first, because how they crafted this list is... to me, it's a little bit questionable. I understand their methodology, but it is a little bit questionable. So let's talk about that. I'm going to scroll down for the list. Hang on. Let's go down because I want you to see. Okay. So influencers are more trusted, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. That's not the methodology. We're going to fly down this list. Let's just skip ahead. Here we go. There it is. Damn it. The page kept resetting. It always kept going to the top, so I have to scroll 100 times. Methodology. Forbes estimated each creator's gross earnings between June of 2022 and June of 2023. So they looked at 1 year snapshot, a 12-month snapshot, I should say. Partners at Influential, which, for those who don't know what Influential is a creator marketing agency. They do promotion, they do manage. They're very well known in the creator space. Influential provided follower accounts across social media platforms and engagement rates, which includes likes, comments, and shares divided by total followers. For the entrepreneur rank, which we're going to get to once we see the list, I'm just going to explain what it is now. There's an entrepreneur rank. Forbes scored their candidates on a 1 to 4 scale, which is an odd scale. They ranged from people who make most of their money from traditional advertising to folks building their own companies, brands, and services. Now, again, they said that the scale is from 1 to 4. They don't say what 1 is and what 4 is. So I'm going to assume, based on these descriptions, because it says that it's people who make money from traditional advertising to folks building their own companies, brands, and services. That description is more entrepreneurial, so let's assume that's the high score of 4. I think that's a fair assumption. Okay? Hold on a second. I'm back now. So let's go to the top of this thing because, like I said, it is a long list and there are descriptions for everybody. As you can see on screen, Drea knows best is number 49. So, top of the list. Oh my God, this website. It never stays where I want it to stay. All right. So let's start with number 1. I don't think number 1 is going to surprise anybody. It is Mr. Beast. Jimmy Donaldson. They estimate his earnings to be $82 million. They think he made $82 million between June of 2022 and June of 2023. Total followers is 312 million. Personal thing from me, from Papa Jug. Let me explain something. Whenever these companies talk about creators and influencers and social media stars, whatever they're talking about, they always give a total. Their total followers is, Twitch plus TikTok plus YouTube plus Instagram plus X plus whatever. That's not an accurate number. I mean, let me rephrase that. Is it an accurate number? Yes. Is it a meaningful number? No. Who cares? And I'm not just saying that because follower counts really don't mean much. What I'm saying is this is one of those moments where there is so much duplication that you can't track. There is no way. Not even Mr. Beast knows the exact number of people that are unique to each platform. You just don't have it. So you add them all up and it's like, okay, well, that's all of your platforms. And great. Big deal. Like, I encourage you guys as the audience, take these numbers with grains of salt because they don't mean a whole lot when it comes to the actual entrepreneurial value, content creator value, other than to say there's a lot. The other thing about these numbers is that for most creators, these are stuffed with bots. There are so many dead accounts, fake accounts, bot accounts. It just happens. And I'm not blaming the creators for it. Usually, I was going to say something, but that's not fair. In many cases, they're not even aware that it's happening. They're not paying for it. They're not, encouraging it. It just happens because of any number of multiple factors. It's a crazy thing. So this one doesn't surprise me. The 312 million, big deal. Average engagement is 9.8. So again, likes, comments, shares, other forms of engagement all across the platforms. When you take a look at those numbers, typically 1 out of every 10, no, that's, no. 10, there we go. 10% of his audience will engage some way with anything he publishes. Now, again, these numbers are ridiculous because one account can like, comment, and share on a Twitter on an X post. So you've just tripled the engagement rate from one person. Is it engagement? Yes, it is. But is it more than one person? No, it's not 3 people engaging. It's one person engaging 3 times. On YouTube, you can do that in a variety of ways as well. Now, if I've got likes, comments, shares, click, they're not going to see click data, so that's really not going to matter. It's different for every platform, but the way they did it was pretty much the best way they can. I'm not going to criticize either Forbes or Influential for this. It's kind of the only way we can track things. You just got to do some math and you got to count them up. So Mr. Beast typically gets an engagement rate of 9.8%, entrepreneurship score of 4. I don't think there is any question that this guy is the top of the list. I don't think this is any question that he is a huge entrepreneur. He has built this business from the ground up. He is very, very creative in what he makes. I don't see this being any kind of crazy. All right. Next one, let's take a look at number 2. Number 2 is KSI. 24 million in earnings through the 12 months, 112 million total followers, average engagement rate of 6.5%, and an entrepreneurship score of 4. Again, very famous. I kind of question them being number 2. I can see them absolutely being top 5, certainly top 10, but number 2, I think that was kind of a surprise to me, and I don't know who to replace it with. I'm just kind of like, wow, that was a shock. So that was a weird one. But yeah, he became number 2. So that was interesting. But he's had to do kind of like the same thing that Jake Paul is doing. And we'll talk about Jake in a minute. Since he's gone from comedian to contender, transforming into a rapper and a boxer, he's released 2 singles in this year alone. He secured a multi-year distribution deal for his promotional company, Misfits Boxing. He's the face of Prime Hydration alongside Logan Paul. We'll talk about that. Who is number 6. The sports drink became the official drink for FC Barcelona, UFC, and Arsenal this year, which is marketing magic. That is incredible. And all the controversies, misogynistic content, racist, transphobic slurs, but he's always turned the scandals into views, both online and in the ring. I talked about this on the recent episode about Kick. People are tuning into garbage. They love dumpster fires. They love to look at terrible people, and this guy is no exception. But again, I was surprised that he was number 2 on the list because you're going to see people who make more, have more followers, have more engagement, and still have an entrepreneurship score of 4. So I'm not sure where he places on 2 and why he's so far above Logan Paul. All right. Number 3 is Jake Paul. Jake Paul, 34 million earned, 66 million followers, engagement rate of 1.6, which is really low. I think it's important for you guys to understand a 1.6% engagement rate is low for a celebrity of this status. His audience doesn't do much, but he doesn't need them to, other than, how do I put it? Like, his money doesn't come from clicks. His money comes from publicity. His money comes from endorsements. His money comes from, boxing matches, stuff like that. So, whatever. Yeah. So we've got to keep that in mind. So he landed a sponsorship with Celsius. We knew about that. Founded the sports betting app Better. They raised a $50 million Series A investment. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. And this year he signed an MMA contract to fight in a new pay-per-view division. So, okay. Again, I totally understand Jake Paul being in the top 5. I totally understand Jake being in the top 10. Number 3 was a surprise. We go down to number 4, Rhett and Link. This one blew me away. I did not expect Rhett and Link to earn $35 million in a 12-month period. That's a lot for those two. Like, they're not out there being these controversial, hate-filled, racist, homophobic losers that are making, tons of money from controversy. These are just two friends who make fun content. And it's like, dudes, you cleared 35 mil? GG's. Let's go. Like, I'm just like, that is insane. So, a little bit of background. They are best friends. If you guys don't know that, Rhett James McLaughlin and Charles Lincoln Link Neal III. They started doing comedy shows on YouTube in 2006. They still have, to this day, one of the most famous and funny ads, literally just TV commercial ads ever made. These guys are great. Today, their Burbank, California entertainment company, Mythical, employs more than 100 people who create YouTube series like the daily variety show Good Mythical Morning, the Mythical Kitchen Cooking Show, and sketch comedy channel Smosh for their 18 million subscribers. The pair produces podcasts, live tours, and live stream events, both books and TV shows too. Meanwhile, their Creator Accelerator Fund invests in upcoming creators. Like, they're just good guys making good content. 35 million out of the gate, and I'm like, hello. That's so awesome. Might have to do with selling Smosh. Maybe? I don't know. It's just, I don't know how much of the sale that they made the income from. And I don't know if Forbes would know that either. So it's an interesting idea. I hadn't thought about that in terms of a net profit of a sale, but it's possible. Either way, still, I get these guys being on the list. I think 4 is a healthy thing. I was more confused about numbers 2 and 3. Number 5 on the list, Charli D'Amelio, $23 million earned in the 12 months, 213 million followers. This number shocked me. Average engagement, 0.7%. That's less than half of Logan Paul, and Logan's numbers are Jake, and their numbers are low. And I'm just like, wow, all right. She is still the top female creator on TikTok. She is on the top creators list, of course, because she is the first woman to appear on the list, and she appears at number 5. D'Amelio Dynasty is only growing. Where did it say? She has become the face of Prada, a walking advertisement for Amazon, CeraVe and Skims, the clothing line co-founded by Kim Kardashian. D'Amelio's year-old fragrance Born Dreamer is on shelves across the U.S. and Europe. On clothing racks, you'll find Social Tourist, the brand that she and her sister Dixie launched. By the way, her sister appears at number 18 on the list. They launched that in partnership with Hollister 2 years ago. The family is shooting the 3rd season of their reality series, The D'Amelio Show, for Hulu, and also running their recently launched shoe brand, D'Amelio Footwear. All of this before she turned 20. That impresses the hell out of me. To do that much, that creatively, that much passion and drive, to do that much work is not easy. I don't care how big her team is. To do that much work is not easy. And it certainly wasn't easy in the beginning when she didn't have a team. So for all of that to happen before this young lady turns 20, let's go. That is amazing. I give her a ton of credit. I would say that is a very well-earned number 5. Just me. I could be wrong. It's just me. Number 6 is Logan Paul. Sorry, I keep saying their names backwards. I apologize, guys. I genuinely couldn't give 2 shits about which one is which or what they do. But number 6 is Logan Paul. 21 million in the year, 74 million followers, average engagement of 1.25%, a little bit lower than Jake. Entrepreneurship score of 4. All of these, whatever, fighting, blah, blah, blah. He's the guy, yada, yada, yada. Number 7, Fuck Jerry. This is a funny piece of creation right here. Earned 30 million in the year, 17 million total followers, average engagement rate of 1%, entrepreneurship score of 4. I totally get the entrepreneurship score thing because he's got Fuck Jerry, Beige Cardigan, Dude with Sign, which that thing alone, Dude with Sign was such a meme, and Jerry News, which all attract about 40 million followers. Big bucks come from his board game empire, which I didn't know much about. I kind of dug into it a little bit more because I was like, yeah, I knew he had it, but I didn't know what else. His board game empire that includes the party game What Do You Meme, which is sold nationwide at Target, Walmart, and Amazon. Didn't know that. He has also branched into the booze business with a viral tequila brand, Haha. I think the name is funny. Weird, but funny. Okay, whatever, Number 7, entrepreneurship score of 4. Like I said, I get the entrepreneurship score thing. The number 7 placement, considering how big the creator space is and the influencer space is, a little surprised at number 7. Really so far, guys, all I've really agreed with is Mr. Beast and D'Amelio. Everybody else I'm questioning. Number 8, English. Speak, Jug, speak. Emma Chamberlain. She has made 20 million in the 12 months. 28 million followers. Now, this is a number that I was more close to accepting. Average engagement, 6.25%. Approximately 6.25%. See, the whole website stopped moving. This is more normal. I did not know this, though. She dropped out of high school to continue being a content creator. I know she makes like really entertaining stuff and she's got great humor. And I knew all of that. I didn't know she was a high school dropout. That was a surprise to me. Interesting. She dropped out of high school, amassed 27.9 million followers, and turned her dry humor and passion for fashion into a lifestyle empire. She has done a ton of, you got to listen to this list. She's done deals with Louis Vuitton, Cartier, Lancôme, Levi's, Aritzia, and Canon. She has her own coffee brand, which I didn't know because I don't give a shit about coffee. Chamberlain Coffee. It's available for sale at Walmart and Sprouts. She has her podcast, which I think a lot of people know about, Anything Goes. And she signed an exclusive February deal for Spotify. So, like, she's grinding this. She is creative. She's passionate. She's putting in the time and the effort. Entrepreneurship score of 4 totally makes sense. The money being earned totally makes sense. I see this in that realm of number 8 or 9. I totally see this making sense. But also good to see another female creator in the top 10. Need more because there's some really clever ones. Let's go down to number 9, Matt Rife. Full disclosure. Okay, let me full disclosure this. And you guys are going to think I'm insane. I had no clue who Matt Rife was until about 2 months ago. Not joking. I'd never heard of the dude. I didn't know jack shit about him. And then one night I see my wife, she's on her phone and she's looking at TikTok or Instagram or something. I don't know, whatever it was. And she starts laughing. I was like, what are you laughing at? And she's like, oh, it's just Matt Rife. And I was like, am I supposed to be jealous about that? Like, what? Who's Matt Rife? You said that like I should know who it is. And she's like, yeah, the comedian. Crickets, blank stare. I have no idea what we're talking about. And she's like, oh my God, how have you not heard of this guy? And I was like, I don't know. Who is he? So she calls me over. She shows me some videos. I was laughing my ass off. That guy is great. So funny. But the moment I walked over and looked at her photo, I was like, oh, that helps. He's a good looking guy. Like, no joke. He's just he's a good looking funny guy. How is he not with a million? He probably is with a million girls, but that's what they all want. Just be a good looking funny guy. And he is. So nailed it. Really impressed though with what he's built on social media and how he's grown his comedy empire. $25 million. Dude's a comedian and has not been in a movie. $25 million in 12 months. 22 million followers. Average engagement, 10.7%. Now we're talking numbers. Now we're talking the way social media is supposed to be used by a popular celebrity. Entrepreneurship score of 3. He is still building a lot of this, so I kind of understand that number. But whatever it is, it is. He found fame on TikTok after a clip of him joking with a female fan went viral. He since has had many of those. Over the last year, the Ohio native has amassed 17 million TikTok followers, sold more than 750,000 tickets for his international tour. His Netflix stand-up special, Natural Selection, is due to stream later this year. I get that. I was surprised to see him in the top 10, but with numbers like engagement and the total followers of 22 million, earnings of 25 million in a year, that surprised me. I was like, oh, okay. I can kind of see where you're back in the top 10. And then finally, at the end of this list is, where's the mouse? There we go. Brent Rivera. This one surprised the hell out of me. But then I saw that the dude cleared $17.5 million. I was like, oh, that helps. So $17.5 million in the year, 96 million total followers, average engagement of 11.25%, entrepreneurship score of 3. I was a little surprised by the entrepreneurship score. So he was on Vine, YouTube, TikTok, etc. And then where was the thing? There we go. The 25-year-old Streamy Award winner is as much a businessman as he is a creator, partnering with, I love that sentence. Bugged me, by the way. I have to say this. Forbes is as much of a businessman as he is a creator. Find me a successful creator that isn't good in business, or at least has a business team. Like, if you're not good at business, you're just going to go broke. You can be famous and broke. It's very popular. It happens all the time. So I was like, I get what you're trying to say, but there was a better way to say it. Like, they're not mutually exclusive things. If you're going to be successful as, earning $17 million, you have to be good in business, which is part of creating, but I get their point. I'm just going to move on. He partnered with giant brands like Starbucks, Xbox, and Prada. Meanwhile, his AMP Studios is a media company that he started 6 years ago to support other creators and emerging brands. So two entrants on the top 10 list, Red and Link and Brent Rivera, all do work to support smaller creators. I like seeing that they're giving back to what they were. I like that one. That was pretty cool. So that is your top 10. Like I said, I thought it was an interesting list. There are 40 more of them, and a lot of the names, Cabby Lame, Alexander Cooper, there's another female creator who made it to number 12. Markiplier is 13. Don't care about Catan, don't care about Preston, don't care about Ryan. Oh, Ryan Kaji, I forgot about that one. Yeah, Ryan Kaji shows up at 17. Dixie D'Amelio is the sister. Zach King still making a name, number 19. What was it? There was another, not Ciarian. No. Where were they? Hold on. Nope, didn't care about Ad. Don't care about Josh. Najjar. Oh, Amaranth made it to 27. 15 million in 12 months. 12 million followers, which that seems really low, but whatever. Average engagement rate of 0.5%, mostly because they don't want to get caught by their spouse. But anyways, yeah, so with all of her business success that she's been talked about for the last year or two, I was really surprised she was only 27 and an entrepreneurship score of 2. I figured that would have been of at least a 3. A little surprising on that one. Don't care. Mark Rober made it to 29. Dream was number 30. Ninja, number 31. Marcus Brownlee is 32. Who else? There were some other ones. Didn't care about Nick. Didn't care about Michaela. Didn't care about Brett. Nope. Nick Merckx, Mr. Controversial. Just leave the children alone. Nick Merckx made it to 39. Amy saw no. Kai Cenat. This was a slight surprise, not a huge surprise because he doesn't do a ton other than cause riots in New York City, but he made it to 44. That seemed low given, what we all know his money is, but whatever. So yeah, but Kai Cenat was at 44. That was a slight surprise to me. And then going down to 49, Drea Knows Best. And then number 50 was the Bud Light sponsorship catastrophe known as Dylan Mulvaney. She's on the list. I mean, number 50, there's Dylan. Entrepreneurship score of 1. I totally get that. There's not a lot of entrepreneurship there yet. Low earnings, low follower count, but average engagement rate of 7.5, which was pretty good. 7.5%. Not bad, not bad. So anyways, so that is the Forbes creator list. I was, like I said, surprised by some of the ones that were in the top 10. I was surprised by some of the places that they achieved in the top 10, even if I thought they should have been there. But overall, I give Forbes credit and I give Influential credit. I think they came up with a fairly robust list that is really the only way you can make these things. It's a very imperfect system, and I think they gave us a fair list of people, and that is what it is. So there's your list. Again, links will be in the show notes. So if you haven't seen them down there yet, not for the live show, but for everybody else, they will be in the show notes. You can go ahead and click the link and you will go straight to the Forbes 50. Let's move on to topic number 3, which I forgot to push the button. Okay, there we go. Topic number 3, Counter-Strike 2. What are we talking about Counter-Strike? Why are we talking about Counter-Strike 2? Oh, that's right, because Counter-Strike 2 has removed Counter-Strike GO. Counter-Strike Global Offensive is gone. It has been replaced by this. Nice thing is that so far, Counter-Strike 2 is getting good reviews. People are happy with the changes, which I'm going to give you a list of them in a second. And a lot of people are saying it's a good successor to Counter-Strike Go. People are looking forward to the gameplay, new competitions, because they changed a lot of the gameplay. They changed some of the mechanics. They changed some of the way that the bracket system works, all of that. So let's talk about that for a second. These are the new features. Okay, new features in Counter-Strike 2, which, just like Counter-Strike Go, it is free to play. Free to play game. You can download it now. Competitive and premier matches. So for the highest level matches, competitive and premier, maximum of 24 rounds. It used to be 30. They've changed that. So that brought down to 24. You still have the 16 bracket as well, but this is they've lowered the 30 to 24. Inspect grenades feature. Grenades can now be inspected along with weapons. It adds a fun element to the game. Why? By the way, the article that I'm reading this from is Sportskeeda, because they did put together a nice list, which I thought was cool. It is written like a press release. Sportskeeda has got to be getting paid by Counter-Strike to do this, because it's just like, bro, you have so much fluff in here. It's a great thing. This is so enjoyable. It's like, this isn't a review you're writing. You're supposed to just be telling us what's new. And instead whatever. You're doing inappropriate things under the table. So grenades can now be inspected along with weapons. Like this sentence, with entertaining animations taking place when grenades are inspected, this is certainly an amusing addition to the game. They called it a fun element, an amusing addition, and entertaining animations. Stop. Just stop. They can handle their own PR. You don't have to help. You can just tell people what's happening. Anyways, let's see. They upgraded the look to the buy menu. The buy menu has been upgraded to a much more elegant look than this decade-long predecessor's weapon wheel. It's an interesting feature that players can now sell weapons or utilities if they're on a budget, or if they bought them accidentally. There's a new loadout system, which a lot of people are saying they like. They're liking the new loadout system. It's a pretty good one. Maps have been overhauled. A lot of them, by the way. It's not just like one or two. A lot of the maps have been overhauled, so you get to enjoy some new places. You get to play these for the first time and really enjoy the layouts, so enjoy those. Reactive smokes. This was an interesting one. Reactive smoke, it's been enhanced the way that they did it. So now when players shoot through the reactive smoke, that specific area gets carved out. It gives the player a bit of a sight on the other side of the smoke. The grenades, if thrown into the smoke, can make them completely disappear for a few seconds before they reappear. It opens up new strategies. A lot of people have been talking about this one, saying that they like it. It's positive. It does force them to rethink a little bit of the gameplay. So good things there. Yeah, paid reviews are nice. Huh? I know. I'm pretty sure this is what this is. Premier leaderboards. Aside from the competitive rank, the in-game players can now attain a CS rating based on their performance in-game. The rating will change based on wins or losses and can be achieved by playing the game's premier mode. So really, I think that they've done a good job with this. I think nice successor. I will be jumping into it to see some of the changes. I haven't downloaded it yet, quite honestly, because I think I need to make room on my SSD. Pretty sure that's the case, because there's a lot of big games on there, especially when you have games like Starfield that are 116 gigabytes. It's just like, yeesh, okay. Let's see. Star Citizen is 88 gigabytes now, 89 gigabytes, I think. So games are getting big. Games are getting to be big downloads, and I'm running out of space. I need a bigger SSD. That's all I'm saying. So check out Counter-Strike 2, especially if you love the FPSs. You should enjoy it, especially if you enjoyed the previous Counter-Strikes. And, like I said, new maps, new ways to play. Have fun. Moving right along to Epic Games had... Yeah, that's true. Star Citizen did just have a 33 gig patch for the PTU. It is not the live game. It is the PTU. That's a whole other conversation because I am so confused about what they're doing right now in terms of testing. It makes no sense, but life will go on. So, as I said, there was the layoffs at Epic. They were announced recently, and I found the statement from the CEO, and I was kind of... I liked it. I wanted to share it with you guys. Epic is laying off approximately 16% of their staff. It is over different departments and teams, but bottom line, 800 and something. I think it was 870. I forget. They're laying off a lot of people. Okay, it is a very unfortunate thing, and that's kind of one of the saddest parts of this podcast is that it seems like at least once or twice a month we're talking about massive layoffs at gaming companies. Epic is apparently not going to get spared to this. We've all, I think, seen this coming if we've been tracking what Epic is doing. Epic has been spending a ton of money and struggling with where to get new revenue. It did catch up with them, and now 16% of the company is getting laid off. But here's the statement from Tim Sweeney, okay? This went out to employees. This was not a press release. This went out to employees. Hi, everyone. As we shared earlier, we are laying off around 16% of Epic employees. We're divesting Bandcamp, which means selling. They're selling Bandcamp and spinning off most of Super Awesome. For a while now, we've been spending way more money than we earn, investing in the next evolution of Epic and growing Fortnite as a metaverse-inspired ecosystem for creators. I had long been optimistic that we could power through this transition without layoffs, but in retrospect, I see that this was unrealistic. While Fortnite is starting to grow again, the growth is driven primarily by creator content with significant revenue sharing, so he's blaming us. And this is a lower margin business than we had when Fortnite Battle Royale took off and began funding our expansion. Success with the creator ecosystem is a great achievement, but it means a major structural change to our economics. Epic folks around the world have been making ongoing efforts to reduce costs, including moving to net zero hiring and cutting operating spends on things like marketing and events, which, by the way, I'm going to pause. I'm going to pause this statement right here. They are moving to net zero hiring and cutting operating spending on things like marketing and events. As a professional marketing executive for a long time, long time, if you're spending money on marketing and not getting a return back, you're doing bad marketing. I know, controversial statement, but marketing is supposed to create a return on your investment. So if you think that you're going to save money by stopping marketing, what you're actually saying is we're going to save money by stopping bad marketing, which means it's not the marketing you should have been doing to begin with. Good marketing will produce you more customer retention, more new customers, more advertising or collaboration or endorsement opportunities or sponsorships or whatever, different avenues you want to create. Good marketing will create these things. Good marketing creates. It is not an expense. If it's an expense on your budget, you're doing it wrong. I will return to Tim Sweeney's statement now. But we still ended up far short of financial sustainability. We concluded that layoffs are the only way and that doing them now and on this scale will stabilize our finances. I think it's worth pointing out, this is Jug again, I think it's worth pointing out that a lot of the executives who made these bad decisions are not the ones being fired. Just saying. Back to his statement. We're also making some divestitures, aka getting rid of parts of our company. Bandcamp is joining SongTrader, a music I'm sorry, a music marketplace company supporting artists. Super Awesome's advertising business will become an independent company under the Super Awesome brand, led by current CEO Kate O'Loughlin. Kids Web Services, KWS, the parent verification and consent management toolset, will remain part of Epic. So they're keeping Kids Web Services. Saying goodbye to people who have helped build Epic is a terrible experience for all. The consolation is that we're adequately funded to support laid-off employees. We're offering severance package that includes 6 months base pay in the US and Canada and Brazil. 6 months. They're also getting, I'm going to read this again to be clear. We're offering a severance package. Okay. I'm taking a drink of something. Clearly talking is challenging. Let me try this again. We are offering a severance package that includes 6 months base pay and in the US, Canada, Brazil, 6 months of Epic paid healthcare. We're offering to accelerate people's stock options vesting schedule through the end of 2024 and are giving 2 additional years from today to exercise the options. In other words, if you need to get your stock options cashed out, we're going to help you do that even if it's ahead of the previous schedule. Also, we're going to keep this going all the way through 2024. So, if there's a better financial situation for you at any particular time, we're going to allow you those options. This is a very nice thing for them to do because a lot of employees get stock options in the games or in the companies they work for. So it's nice. In the US, we're also offering to vest any unearned profit sharing from the 401k, and we'll provide benefits including career transition services and visa support where we can. Not a surprise. A lot of these employees are from different countries. They've gone, wherever and ended up wherever, and maybe they need to go back. That's the way that's going to work. Also, a lot of visas are work-based, and I'm assuming a lot of these guys are. So when you lose your job, you no longer have a valid visa. You have to return home. So Epic is saying that we're going to help those people who need to do international travel. For those, by the way, I'm going to stop right there again. I wanted to give Tim Sweeney credit. We've talked about a few of these layoff notices that have gone public. I've trashed a lot of them in the way the CEOs wrote them. Marketing should have probably had a better say in how they were crafted. PR should have been, more involved. Legal, maybe less involved, but whatever. I think this is great. He flat out takes an entire paragraph and talks about how they're going to take care of the people who are no longer going to be employed by this company. We're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this. By laying all that out, I think they get 2 bonus points from me, all right? A couple of gold stars. 1, they are demonstrating to their employees, both current and about to be former, we care about you whether you work here or not. You were a part of our family. Unfortunately, you won't be any longer, but we still care and we're going to help you where we can. The second gold star they get from me is that it shows the rest of the world in terms of if you're going to go work at Epic, you can look at a moment like this and say, you know what, at least I know I'm going to work for a company that cares about me, even if I have to be let go in the future. And I think that's a great thing because it shows a bonded workplace. It shows something that has camaraderie to it. It shows a place that, your management probably values you day to day, not just when they let you go, but day to day. It's probably a place that you're going to like working. So like I said, I think they get 2 gold stars for this one. I appreciate an entire paragraph dedicated to we are going to help you. And it's not a short list. This is a healthy list of things that they are doing to help people. So kudos to them on that one. Okay. I'm going to return to this. In chat, somebody says, as a senior sales engineer, you shouldn't be cutting marketing. Smart of them to show how they're going to help people for their image. Exactly. It's like, hey, we want to demonstrate. We're going to prove to you. It's not just words. We're proving to you that we care about people. So well said. Well said. I'm going to get back to the statement. For those still at Epic, you'll hear more from senior leaders about the path forward for your team. Epic's prospects for the future are strong. We have amazing game experiences across multiple platforms. We've built the best engine in the world. No, they haven't, but whatever. And we will be hosting Unreal Fest next week to bring the community together and spot. Although Unity being gone, I'm going to retract that. Let's give Unreal its credit. Anyways, hosting Unreal Fest next week to bring the community together and spotlight the things they are building with Unreal Engine and UEFN. Creators are making a living building for Fortnite ecosystem with time and third-party games now exceeding first-party. That's an interesting fact. That's kind of cool. We are cutting costs without breaking development or our core lines of businesses, so we can continue to focus on our ambitious plans. About 2/3 of the layoffs were in teams outside of core development. Some of our products and initiatives will land on schedule, and some may not ship when planned because they're under-resourced for the time being. We're okay with the schedule trade-off if it means holding on to our ability to achieve our goals. Get to the other side of profitability and become a leading metaverse company, Tim. Overall, I would say this is a great statement. It is unfortunate they've got to lay off 16% of the company. They are demonstrating that they're going to take care of those people who are losing their jobs. And at the end of that, they also give some optimism and hope to current employees who are staying, letting them know it's like, hey, you're not staying with a sinking ship. Okay. You're not the last rats to get off the Titanic. You're on a place that is still looking forward. We're doing what we think we need to do to continue to maintain your job. And still, keep the audience entertained. So I'd say 07s and GGs to Tim Sweeney. Decent statement. Well said. Compassionate, I think professional, and addresses all of the topics that need to be addressed. And then, unfortunately, we're going to see where the company shakes out in the next few months with 16% less staff. It is what it is. Then our final topic of the night. This is our big chat. SAG-AFTRA. If you guys don't know, this is the union that represents actors. Okay, voice actors, physical actors, a lot of people that work on sets. It's huge. It's huge. If you weren't familiar with them before this year, you probably became aware of them because they led the Hollywood strike. All the actors went on strike for, what are they on strike now for? I forget. It's been so many months now. I've lost, maybe it was July, whatever it was. So they went on strike, and I genuinely thought this was going to be more to talk about today, and I'll tell you why. Leading into this week, they had 3 days of negotiations with the studios. Okay. The center of this is protecting the actors who work on video games. This is separate from the actor strike in Hollywood in terms of like movie studios. These are the studios that are creating video games. So Activision's and Bethesda's and all of them. Warner Brothers, stuff like that. It is separate from the Hollywood actor strike. And their thing was this, they basically had, and it's complicated, but they basically had 3 points. They wanted to protect the pay because basically what their argument was the pay that the actors get is not keeping up with the massive amount of inflation that's occurring in the economy. So technically they're getting paid decreases. Whatever. I'm going to leave that one alone because I don't think that's the major issue right now. There are more critical things that they're arguing for. The other is workplace safety, because some of these people are doing like motion capture. Some of these people are working many, many, many long hours in a day. They're voice actors. They are physical actors. They're on camera or they're doing mocap stuff. And then there's also AI. And I think the AI is the bigger issue. Pay is important. Safety is important. But I think in terms of the future viability of these actors, the future viability of their role in the industry, AI poses the greatest threat. It's just an almost undeniable fact. AI can replace nearly every voice actor working today. I'm sorry, it's true. And I say that as a guy who's done voice work. AI is getting that good. Now, it does need something to work with, but we're going to be past that point in a year. It will be able to effectively and cheaply create, not recreate, create any vocal ability you want. That's a threat to their role in the industry. That's who they're fighting for. And they're trying to say that, look, studios, you need to value the human beings that are doing things. You need to value the people that have helped you build these studios and careers. You need to pay them better. And we need to make sure that the working conditions are good. Now, that's what the negotiations are about. The studios are saying we're not going to pay you everything you want. We have to use AI. We do have to use AI. So we disagree fundamentally on these principles. We have to find a common ground. What I thought was going to be more interesting tonight was I thought we'd be talking about a strike. And here's why. At the beginning of the week, I think it was Monday, at the beginning of the week, this union membership voted something like 98% to authorize a strike. Literally stop working. Whatever like if they're working on GTA 6, stop. You're not going to work tomorrow. The game is on pause. Okay? The union authorized a strike. 98% of the members voted in favor of it, so they were ready to go. And the announcement from SAG-AFTRA from the union said, look, we have 3 days of negotiation, September 26th, 27, 28. We've got 3 days of negotiation to solve this. But we're going to walk into those days of negotiation with a document from our membership that says if you don't come to the table, we are going to strike. Your work freezes. Well, the 28th was Thursday. We record on Friday. I was like, let's talk about whatever happens, and something that I saw on Twitter that I disagree with, and we'll get to that in a minute. Sorry, X. Didn't happen. They had the negotiations, and SAG-AFTRA actually announced, let me go read it, at the end of yesterday, so at the end of Thursday, they put out this statement. SAG-AFTRA and video game employers concluded scheduled negotiations for the interactive media agreement. That is the literal contract that oversees all these people. No deal was reached, and the current agreement will remain in effect while the parties make final efforts to reach a deal. So they went through all 3 days of negotiation. They have a strike authorization ready to go, and we're sitting here today with no change. Sorry. I thought we'd be talking about something much more important, but they're still talking. Well, actually, it doesn't say they're still talking. It says they're making preparations to still talk. So we're stuck. We don't have much to talk about other than this thing that I wanted to bring up. And I would love all of you, if you're live in chat, I would love your opinions on this. There was a content creator who published something on X, and it was a list of all of the studios involved in these negotiations that are not meeting the agreement. Okay, they're not meeting the demands of the new agreement. And they published this list, which is completely fair. They're simply saying these are the studios involved in the negotiations, and then it went a step further and said these are all of the game titles that they have. And their goal with posting this was something that I don't agree with. Or maybe I don't understand it. Maybe I need to get clarification. They said, these are the list of games that the studios work on. Don't stream them. Don't do virtual photography. Don't participate publicly in any way. You can play them off stream if you want, have a good time, but do not promote the games. And I have a problem with that. I can understand if, let's say a strike happens, okay? And all of a sudden the studio's work is frozen. That means nothing to the titles that already exist. If the actors today decide that they're going to strike and that's going to put a freeze on GTA 6, what does that have to do with GTA 5? It's out already. Why would I stop playing a thing that is not impacted by this strike? And I understand if your point is, well, we want to hurt the studio. We want to show the studio the financial consequence of this strike. That's fine. But me playing GTA 5 doesn't change the work that is now governed by the agreement you want. It was governed by the agreement you agreed to. The relationship for that is finished. So now literally punishing the members of the union who may be getting royalty checks for these things, now that will stop? So now we're punishing the actors even more. We're taking not only their current paycheck, but now you want me to take from their previous paycheck? How does that help the situation? That's what baffled me. I saw this and I got tagged on it and I was like, oh, cool. You know, I hadn't seen the post. I hadn't seen this perspective yet. They're like, yeah, don't play it, because basically their point was, if you play these games, anything, if you want to punish Warner Brothers, don't play Hogwarts. And it's like, no, Hogwarts is out already. The contract is done. Like, those people are getting paid or got paid. So why would I stop playing that? That doesn't make any sense. So their point was, if you play these games that are already released, you're crossing the picket line. First of all, I didn't authorize the strike. I didn't get asked my opinion, so don't tell me where the picket line is and what I should or should not do with it. Second of all, it's not covered the past game. It's covering the future game. It's a different thing. You're literally taking now from these actors, if they get royalties, which a lot of them don't, but some do, you're now taking from their income twice. You're now saying, not only are we not going to allow you to make the game you're already working on for your current paycheck or your future paychecks, we're not going to support the ones that you've already made. Sorry, I'm not going to do that. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't see a reason to punish people who are just fighting for a wage. I disagree with the union's approach to this, but whatever, that's not entirely the point. I just don't understand how that is crossing a picket line if I'm literally trying to help the people get paid while they're unemployed. So interesting comment. This is just one step away from asking them to openly speak against those companies, which may in turn violate previous title agreements. It's just vengeful. Yes, that's another perspective on this. It's just, the whole thing seems to be overkill. And again, this was not, as far as I know, this is not something that was asked for by the union. I haven't seen the union make a statement to this effect. I've read their entire press briefings, like all of them, about this situation. I haven't seen that. Maybe they said it in an interview or something. But I'm sorry, that is not crossing a picket line. That is hopefully trying to get somebody who is now out of work because of this strike. If they're out of work, it is now saying, well, maybe we're going to get you a royalty check. Maybe we're going to do something that's going to keep some sort of promotion of your past work. At the very least, you get the exposure and saying, yeah, the game is still popular and that's the thing I worked on. I saw that and I was like, no. In fact, I might even play these games more. I might go out and promote these guys. Shit, I've never streamed before. I'd be like, you know what? I happen to know that actor is getting a royalty check for this. Let's play that game because they need a check. That's all I can do. That is basically my only power outside of telling the studios, hey, we would love you to come to the table and meet these guys halfway. You got to change your position, and doing the same with the union. I don't know if anybody knows this, but sometimes unions are unreasonable. So I think the support needs to be there, simply trying to punish the studio. This is very similar to the whole thing with J.K. Rowling and Hogwarts. I know I mentioned Hogwarts earlier, but this is a little bit different. When we're talking about, don't play Hogwarts to punish J.K. Rowling, it's like, it doesn't really do that. Sentiment, gotcha. I understand the impulse to do what you're talking about. That's not how it works. That's like, you're trying to make a statement with the completely wrong way, and maybe we shouldn't do that. So if the strike does get put into effect, the authorization already exists. If the strike goes forward and the actors in video gaming industries decide that they're going to stop working, I am not going to stop playing the games that are already published. Sorry for the bad news. Now, if it's an early access title, I could see that changing the game. Early access means it will have to freeze because it's still in development. So maybe there would be an early access thing that gets dropped, but I'm not even decided on that one because I'd want to see what the situation is. But bottom line is, you want me to stop promoting the people who are now out of work and need promotion? Not happening here. I will talk about their titles. I will play their titles. I will talk about their talents. I will do all of the things that keep them moving forward while they're stuck in place. So that's where we're at. I don't have a strike to tell you or not tell you about because it hasn't happened yet. So anyways, guys, that is the end of episode 19. I want to thank y'all for hanging out here. As usual, we had a good time. We had some fun topics, a little bit of a change. We talked about Tupac at the beginning of the show, and we're talking about a strike that hasn't happened yet at the end of the show. So it is what it is. We work with what we got. I hope all of you have a wonderful week. And as always, go have yourself a good morning, a good day, a good night, whatever it is for you. And I will see you next Friday. See ya.